Next, we have Leslie Draper discussing what exactly does it mean to be a fiduciary and what do they do? Leslie?
Sounds good. Thanks, Justin. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
And also, let me mention, we did have some people just joining us. You are a part of the plan sponsor track, and anything that you've missed so far, these sessions are being recorded and you will receive a follow-up email. Okay, go ahead, Leslie.
Thanks, Justin. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Sounds good. So again, welcome to the 2023 Definiti Retirement Academy. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Leslie Draper. I'm the 316 manager here at the Fiduciary Studio. We are part of Definiti and we oversee the 316 services. So the topic that I will be reviewing today is finding your inner fiduciary. So a plan sponsor is considered a fiduciary, and 82% of plan sponsors say fiduciary matters are important, yet more than 1/3 of plan sponsors don't know that they are actually considered a fiduciary of the plan. So before we get started, I do want to touch base on ERISA. And what is ERISA? You'll see ERISA referenced throughout my slides. So just wanted to do a brief overview of, really what ERISA stands for. So ERISA stands for the Employee Retirement Income Security Act of 1974. So this law was passed by Congress really to establish mechanisms for monitoring and regulating employee benefit plans for the workforce. So ERISA does cover three key areas: health and welfare plans, and also qualified plans. So ERISA's entire purpose is to ensure that plan sponsors and fiduciaries follow the fiduciary rule. And that fiduciary rule is fiduciaries must put the interest of plan participants and beneficiaries above their own. So what is a fiduciary? The law defines a fiduciary as an individual who is in the position of authority and is legally obligated to act in good faith on behalf of the individuals he or she represents. So ERISA does outline several duties that a fiduciary of a 401k plan performs. And these duties do include determining if fees are reasonable, if the investments that are offered are diversified, that the terms of the plan document are being followed, and really that the decisions about the plan and the investments are, again, made in the best interest of the plan participants. So with that being said, how can a plan sponsor mitigate their responsibilities? So the DOL, which enforces ERISA, recognizes that plan sponsors may need to hire someone who is an expert in the compliance, the tasks, and the investments to act on behalf of the plan. So in doing so, the expert may take on fiduciary liability. And as the DOL states, a fiduciary can also hire a service provider or providers to handle those fiduciary functions. And there are three types of services that may be outsourced with fiduciary duty. The first two that I'm going to briefly touch on is 321 and 338. A 321 or 338 fiduciary plays a role in overseeing the plan assets and the investments. So just a brief explanation, the 321, you can think of it more as a help me service. So you'll work in conjunction with the 321 and have that shared liability. The 321 recommends the selection of the investments, but then the plan sponsor ultimately approves those investments. Where you can look at a 338 as a do it for me. So majority of the investment responsibilities are lifted from the plan sponsor and assumed by the 338 fiduciary. So your 338 advisor is responsible for the investment selection, monitoring, and the replacement of plan options. And they must inform the plan sponsor before any changes are made. Now, 316 fiduciaries focuses on the day-to-day administration work for 401k plans. So really, why add these services? You'll have experts on your team. So retirement plan rules and regulations are complex, and they seem to continue to change as new regulations come out. So as a 316, we will act as the expert on your team, so you don't have to. Another reason is it reduces workload and increases capacity. So 316 fiduciary takes on administrative tasks associated with plan compliance. And this, clears the plan sponsor's plate so they can focus on other higher priority items related to the business. And really, another reason is for the compliance protection. Hiring a 316 service provider who acts as a fiduciary will mitigate the risks associated with a retirement plan. And when it comes to fiduciary responsibility, most of the fines and fees that we see from the IRS and the DOL are not related to the investment side, but to the plan administration side. So for example, if failing to timely file an annual Form 5500 can be costly. It can cost over $2,000 a day for that. Another one of the common mistakes that we see when it comes to the administration of your plan is late deposits. Late deposits can cause lost earnings that need to be calculated and submitted to your plan, or even missed deferral opportunities. So failure to allowing your newly eligible participants to actually be able to defer into the plan. So I also wanted to take this opportunity to briefly go over who does what. So there are several parties who are involved. You have your record keeper, who is the investment platform provider, the fiduciary studio, the 316 administrator, Definiti, your retirement plan administrator, and your financial advisor. So you as the plan sponsor act for the main contact for the participants along with your service provider. So, if Definiti needs to reach out to you, they will certainly do that. Any questions that they have. In addition, as a plan sponsor, you're providing timely information to the TPA and 316 in order to make sure that your plan stays in compliance. Another responsibility is you work directly with your financial advisor when it comes to the investment requirements. And then as a plan sponsor, you're making sure that those contributions are submitted into the 401k plan. As the TPA, your third-party administrator, their responsibilities include plan design consulting. Plan document notices are prepared by the TPA. The annual administration, which includes your employer calculations at the end of the year if you're going to do a profit sharing or a match. Your TPA also performs the non-discrimination testing that is required every year. Creates the Form 5500, and then oversees the withdrawal services. So reviews the distributions that are coming in on the TPA side. Now, as a 316, our responsibility really is to step in and assist as a plan sponsor or a co-fiduciary on administrative issues. So we are ensuring that plan documents are up to date. We oversee and distribute notices directly to participants. We review the annual administration to make sure that the compliance testing was completed. We sign off on the 5500 as the plan sponsor. We monitor payroll. So on a per payroll basis, we monitor to ensure that your payroll contributions are being submitted timely. We also offer upload payroll services. So we can go ahead and submit contributions on behalf of the plan to the record keeper. And we take the role of approving all participant withdrawals. So the TPA does the review process. It moves on to the final process, which it needs approval, and that falls on 316. In addition, we track eligibility as well. And I'll get into each of these services further along in the presentation. And then your record keeper and financial advisor really focuses on that participant education. They manage and track employee investments. The record keeper provides participant account statements. Your record keeper also holds the participant website, so we'll provide participant website support. Any investment fund changes, they produce the fund change notice. And any forms such as distribution forms, loan forms, the record keeper also will provide those. So keeping a retirement plan compliant is often complicated and demanding. If you juggle other responsibilities within your company, really the hours that you need to devote to plan administration can really be limited. So here's the good news. You can outsource a significant portion of the retirement plan administrative responsibilities to 316 Services. And this is where the Fiduciary Studio 316 Services can help. So what can the fiduciary help with? What services do we provide? So we do operate as the named 316 administrator in the plan document. We really are a co-fiduciary and stand with you as the plan sponsor to ensure that your plan is running smoothly and following all of the rules and the regulations. We confirm revisions to the summary plan description and participant disclosures. We monitor timeliness of plan amendments and restatements. A big part of our responsibility is determining eligibility dates. So let's say your eligibility is 1 year of service, age 21, 1,000 hours, and you have, monthly entry. On a monthly basis, we are calculating those newly eligible employees and not only notifying you as the plan sponsor, but we are directly notifying the newly eligible employees, providing them with the enrollment material, the SPD, the required notices. And we typically do that through email directly to your newly eligible employees, but we can also hard copy mail those out. Another part of our responsibilities is if you have automatic enrollment and automatic increase, we can really step in and manage that program for you to notify you who needs to be auto-enrolled, when do they need to be auto-enrolled, and same with auto increases. Who is the group of employees that are subject to that increase and when does it need to occur? We monitor forfeitures annually and we review the vesting. We can submit payroll submissions to the record keeper. And again, ensure that your deposits are made timely. We play the role of the plan sponsor when it comes to approving and signing off on all distribution, loans, and hardships. So whether that's done via paper form, we take on the responsibility to have the plan sponsor signing authority, or whether that's done online with the record keeper, we have access to go ahead and approve those distribution loans, hardships online. We take on the responsibility of signing off on the 5,500. So Definiti, as the TPA, prepares the 5,500, would typically send it to the plan sponsor to review and sign. However, as 316, we take the place of the plan sponsor and we are reviewing the Form 5,500 and signing off on it as the plan sponsor. In addition, if an 8955 that goes along with the 5,500 needs reviewed, we also do that as well. We take on the responsibility of reviewing and approving qualified domestic relation orders, so quadros. So that's if you have a participant who's going through a divorce and has a court order regarding the splitting of the assets for the 401k plan. We can work directly with that participant and the court order to make sure that it's followed, that everything is needed in that court order, and that we see it through to the end when the assets are split out. We also ensure that all of the testing is completed and documented. And then we deliver required notices through email to all participants. So at the end of the year, when annual notices need to go out, we take on the responsibility of ensuring all annual notices are delivered to your participants. And again, we do that via email. So clients that can benefit from 316 services. Clients who are busy running their company with little or no time to focus on the retirement plan. Clients that are concerned with compliance and fiduciary risk. Clients who have limited staff and need assistance with monitoring activities such as payroll, notices, eligibility. Those are all clients that can really benefit from 316 fiduciary services. So the Fiduciary Studio helps plan sponsors to fulfill their fiduciary duties and reduce retirement plan risk. And this really brings me to the end of the presentation. As Justin indicated at the beginning of the session, resources for this session will be made available at the end of the session. We do have a Definiti roles and responsibilities handout that talks about each of the services that 316 takes on. And in addition, we have another piece that talks about the benefits of 316 administration. So before I pass it over to Justin, do we have any questions?
No questions, anyone?
All righty.
All right. Well, thank you, Leslie, so much for your presentation and your time today.
Thank you. And I will pass it back over to you. Thanks, Justin.
No problem.